Hey New Jersey FFA, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Renee.
And this is Success Support.
Into the month of November, and with that being said, it is now time to seriously get working on our chapter's program of activities.
The POA is due to the state on December 1st, and remember, submitting your chapter's POA is a requirement to remain in good standing as a chapter.
For those of you that attended the Leadership Experience and Development Conference and sat in on the POA challenge for the Chapter Officer Leadership Training portion of the conference, this success support video may look pretty familiar to you.
Today, we will be going through the steps of how to put your chapter's program of activities into the AET. While you can still submit your chapter's POA through the Excel document, we highly encourage you to use this method of organizing and submitting your POA, whether it be this year or in years to follow.
Additionally, since all of the work you put into creating your program of activities should be utilized in as many ways as possible, we will also walk through the steps of using this method of inputting your POA so that it transfers directly into the National Chapter Award application. Let's dive in.
Once we have logged on to our AET account, we should see a screen that looks something like this. Once we have made it to a screen that looks similar to what you see here, we'll click on the tracker. Once we come to a screen that looks similar to this, we will then go to the Chapter Activities box and click the C4 button. Again, this might not be exactly what your screen looks like, but it should be something pretty similar. Unless you have already started your chapter's program of activities on the AET, you should see a screen that looks very similar to this. And in that case, you would go to Create a New Strategic Plan. If you've already created your chapter's program of activities on the AET, it will say the year of the plan that you wanted to select in this box, and you click on that and move forward from there. So let's say we're starting a brand new program of activities for this year. We would enter the start date, which is September of 2017. And the end date would be September of 2018. And with that, it automatically inputted the exact date. We could go ahead and edit it to make it September 1st to September 1st. And once we've done that, we can click Create a New Plan. At this point, you'll see a screen that looks something like this. And if you've already created a program of activities on the AET for this year, this is what your screen would have automatically looked like when you clicked Tracker and then the C4 button, and it would have brought you to this. On this first page, while we don't necessarily have to focus on it too much for the purposes of our program of activities, we highly encourage you to go ahead and fill out your chapter's mission statement as well as your vision statement and all the other boxes on this page. You can take a look at the small little green question marks to see exactly what is needed in those boxes. For the purposes of the program of activities input, we can skip over this page for right now. We can begin on the Student Leadership tab over here. Once here, we can go ahead and input our chapter officers if we so wish to do so. And by doing that, you can go to the little pencil here, and you can go ahead and edit what is already there. This was just an example that automatically came up on our end. Otherwise, if you don't have an example there, you'll go to plus new officers, and you can add in by scrolling through the name choices on here, which there will definitely be more on your student account, as well as pick the office that they are, the level, which would be chapter, and then the start date and end date, which again should be the same start and end date as what you selected in the beginning. Add in all of your officers if you so choose to do that. You can add in a little biography, but again, that is not necessary for the program of activities, but we do encourage you to do so at some point, just so that you have an accurate record of all of your FFA officers for this year and for this program of activities. The next part of filling in and getting ready for your program of activities is looking at FFA committees. The POA is organized into three divisions with 5 quality standards per division. So here you can see growing leaders and the 5 quality standards for growing leaders, building communities and the 5 quality standards for building communities, and then strengthening agriculture and those 5 quality standards. With this, you'll want to go into each and every one of them and assign a co-chair or chair, and then you'll hit Add Student so that now they are a part of that committee. If we hit back on the Student Leadership tab, we'll see this page again, but this time we will see that the Growing Leaders Career Success division and quality standard has 1 member. If you wanted to input a chair and co-chair, you would click the pencil and then select the chairman, which again, you'll have more to offer than just what we have shown here. And then your co-chair, again, click the student, and then you are more than welcome to put in your summary and objectives. At the end, you'd click Update Committee, and that would automatically be inputted into what you have on the following screen. You can do that for all of the different divisions and quality standards, and that'll help organize and keep everything running efficiently throughout the year. We'll now look at the Activities tab at the top. And with this, if you haven't already started your chapter program of activities, you can go ahead and click New Activity. In the new activity, you'll want to type in the name of your activity, as well as the beginning date and the duration or the time of the event. And then go ahead and select the division and quality standard that aligns with the activity. And in this case, since none of your activities should be the same, you will not need to copy details from a prior event. So let's use the example of spring flower sale. We'd go ahead and we'll assign this to the environmental in building communities division, and we'll click Save. Now we see that our activity shows up right here. We'll say that the date is on November 14th. Now we'll go in and say that we're editing this event that we just created. So we'll click on the name of the event. Once we click on the name of the event, we'll see a screen that looks similar to this with a couple different buttons up here that you can click. In there, you can add in the general information, but again, this won't be something that is necessarily put onto your POA, but it's good to have that extra information for future reference. We'll then go to the Goals, Plans, and Outcomes button, and with that, you can put in a small activity description, and again, these little green question mark buttons, if you hover over them, it'll give you a description of exactly what they would like to see in this box. You'll then go through and make a goal, a plan of action for each of the 3 goals for this event or activity. At the end, you can go back and fill in the outcome evaluated and reported for each goal. That is important so that in the future you can look back at these events and see what went well and what didn't go so well so that we can improve and make changes for the coming year. We'll do that for all 3 goals, and then that page will be completed. The deadlines and dates tab is extremely important and helpful in organizing when you would like certain things done for this activity. So you can go ahead and input a date. We'll say by November 1st, and then the description. And this can be a time where you assign different officers or members of your committee or the planning of this event to accomplish certain tasks by a certain date. And you would input that information there. Let's say send out flyers for our spring bulb sale. We would click save and add a new line. And then it would save automatically and a new line would be added so you can add in the next date. Again, this is extremely helpful in organizing all of your ideas and thoughts and ensuring that they are done in a timely manner. Next, we'll look at the results and evaluations. This tab will really come in handy, again, when we're looking back for improvements for the next year. But this is also extremely important when we switch gears into transferring all of this information into the National Chapter Award application. So we'll talk about that more later, but be sure to fill out this results and evaluations tab after every event that you complete so that we can go ahead and put that on our National Chapter application. You have the option to add in photos, which again, this will help with the National Chapter application like we'll talk about. And it's also good so that you have a way of organizing all the photos that you may take for this event. You can also create a budget. Pretty self-explanatory there. Again, not really necessary, but you're more than welcome to do so, and we highly encourage this action. And last but not least, you can input all of the participants so that you have an accurate record of all the members and officers that chose to participate in this activity. If you have an event on your POA that contributes to the 8,000 hour challenge at the state level, this would also be a good way of keeping track of not only how many students participated, but the hours they completed for this event, so that if it is involved in community service, you can easily take this information and put it onto that application. That would be it for the actual planning of your POA. However, there is another tab, the program budget. So this again is a budget page that you can overall use to help in planning your events and your program of activities. But again, it's not really necessary in order to complete your program of activities, but rather just an extra guideline for you to use. Now that we've gone through all of the steps for one activity, we would go back to the Activities tab, and we would create another new event. And again, name of the activity, you'll go back down to pick out which category it'll go under, and that way, once you have filled up all these categories, that is when your program of activities would be considered 100% complete. And you can also have multiple activities for each of the divisions and quality standards, which within each of them, up to 5 activities for each.
So now that we have the POA portion on the AET completed, I'm going to show you how we can complete the Superior Chapter and National Chapter application. So when we get to our screen like this, which may look a little different, we'll make sure to click on Reports. From Reports, we'll head over here to FFA Reports and Submissions, and head over to our FFA Awards Degree Application Manager. From there, we'll make sure we click a National Chapter Award and hit Add. And once we do that, the award application should show up right here under this gray box, and we can hit Application to start working on it. So once we do that, it's important for advisors to know that they can add students to the application so that they can work on this, helping to complete the application before it is due. Now, once we have students added, we can head over to our cover page. This should all be filled in from the information from our account on AET, but if not, let's make sure we fill that in and make sure it is all up to date. With that, we can head over to Form 1 Activities, This is where all the activities that we have, which we created through the AET POA part, will be loaded into our application. So as you can see, for growing leaders and leadership, we have a few activities. Let's make sure that when we hit choose from AET, we'll see multiple events or activities that can fit in this quality standard, but we're going to pick the best activity that we have to offer for this quality standard. And we'll make sure to do that for all 15 of the quality standards. So we'll be picking the best activity we have. Once we do that for all 15 of these quality standards, we can head over to Form 1 indicators, where we will evaluate the agricultural education program, as well as all of the leadership development and other indicators for our chapter. Now, it's important to note that you need at least 51 points in order to move on to Form 2. So we will click through these. Of course, we'll be evaluating based on how we feel our chapter is working. And once we have this complete, we can head over to Form 1 Summary. So as you can see, we don't have all 15 quality standards on this account set up, so that condition is not met for us to move on to Form 2. However, when we do move on to Form 2, we will see each activity for the 5 activities for the 3 divisions, and we will make sure that we have the activity name, the quality standard that it fits in, and then a description. We'll see that along the sidebar here once these conditions are met. Most of the information for that activity that we choose should be automatically uploaded into the application, since we put so much work into our POA through the AET. National FFA has made it easy for us to get all that information transferred from what we work on with the AET to our national chapter application and superior chapter application. Once we have all of our information uploaded, which would extend into Form 2 of the application, we can make sure to hit Print Application, and we will hit Complete Application, which will generate a report for us. This will be printed out, signed, and mailed to the New Jersey Department of Agriculture for review by the deadline. Now, a PDF of the application will look something similar to this. Of course, these will all be filled in with our wonderful activities and events that we have for our chapter members. It will include all of our goals for the Form 2 part that we will fill out once we have all of our qualifications met in the application. And of course, we'll see the qualification checklist. As you can see, we have some things missing here that we'll be working on when we submit our POA, but our chapter will have to have all of these met in order to submit for review. So I hope you learned a lot today about the national chapter and superior chapter applications, as well as how we can complete our program of activities through AET. National FFA has provided us a great resource with this degree application manager and the AET website. We hope you use it to submit all of the forms that we need this year for POA. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the state officers. We'll be glad to help you. And with that, you have been successfully supported. Thank you for joining us as we talked about the POA and National Chapter and Superior Chapter Awards. Make sure to tune back for more helpful videos, and we'll see you next time.